Allie. I'm here outside the Altamont Theater on Church Street, and I'm talking to Vienna Teng, who's going to be performing here tonight, sold out show, which is awesome. And we're just going to talk a little bit. So, because you play piano, I would imagine that it sort of limits or specifies the types of venues you can perform at.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, I love being able to play pianos at venues, and so I feel really lucky to be at the Altamont. But I also travel with a keyboard, and so there are other situations where there is no piano, and I just like, well, one of the benefits is that I get to face the audience full on. It's one of the challenges of being a piano player, that you're always kind of like doing this to everybody. Yeah.
I noticed on your videos, though, it seems like you have this really natural rapport with the audience, and I've thought about that with piano players before, like it must be kind of hard to develop that because of the thing where you're not facing them. So is that something that just really came naturally to you, or?
I think it kind of did, just in the sense of, I think I could never get comfortable as a performer unless I was actually connecting with the audience in conversation. So I think, that's almost sort of my litmus test for like how I can settle into a show, is like if I kind of say something to the audience and kind of if nothing comes back, or if people actually like chuckle at something that I say that I'm trying to be funny.
Right, right.
So that's always like a way for me to kind of gauge the energy of the room.
How much are you able to improv in your live shows?
I'm not a trained, jazz improviser or anything like that, so it's nothing on that scale. It really depends on the song, I guess. There are some where I feel like either they're new enough to me that I kind of have to stick to what I've developed, and that's my way to be comfortable.
Right.
And then in other situations, actually these days when people ask me for an older song that I've played many, many, many times, I'll sometimes just say, well, I'm going to do tonight's version of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. And then I really just kind of like put my fingers on the keys, and then they, just kind of follow what happens.
I know the borderlines are true between us. Keep the weapons down, keep the wounded safe. I know antebellum innocence was never meant to see the light.
With the songs from Ames, are you trying with those to kind of stick to the sound of the recording, or are you doing something different with them live?
It's pretty impossible to stick to the sound of the recording.
Yeah.
So I basically just picked two musicians that I love. Well, one of them I've worked with for many years, and the other I've seen her play, and I know she's really versatile and just understands music in this beautiful way. And both of them play a lot of different instruments. They're comfortable with both acoustic and electronic instruments. So I basically just like picked those two people, asked them if they would come on tour with me, and then got into rehearsal and said like, how are we going to do these songs?
Yeah.
And so it was really fun kind of hearing their ideas of how we would create new versions of the song that would kind of capture the essence of them without sounding anything like the album.
Right, right. So I was thinking about, you told me through email that after this tour you're going to be working more of a normal day job, and you'll still have time to dedicate to music, but you probably won't be touring quite as much. I wondered if there's anything specific about tour. Maybe it's the people who you're really going to miss.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of things to miss about touring. Well, one is the feeling that I actually have become familiar with so many different cities, and on this tour especially, it feels like a homecoming every night. I'm like, oh, I remember I was last here in like 2008, or like I remember like these people came to the show.
Yeah.
Back when this was happening, and so I feel like I have friends, and I have some kind of bond with so many different places around the country, and knowing that I'm not going to see them for a long time because I'm not touring is bittersweet. And also, we joke about, when you're in a tour band with musicians, it's sort of like camp because you're just always together. And so you end up in this, you develop all these inside jokes, you have all these adventures together, and you definitely go through so much together, like both on stage and on 12-hour drives or whatever it is. So you really get very close, and it feels strange to say goodbye at the end of the tour.
Yeah, that seems like such a cool experience that like most of us don't ever get to have. So I like hearing about it. Well, I'm glad that that one of your stops on this tour is Asheville before you take some time off from the road.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to be here. I've only played Asheville a handful of times before, and so to be honest, it was a little bit of a risk, deciding to come here and hope that enough people would buy tickets and want to come.
It worked.
And the show tonight's sold out, so I'm so excited.
Yeah, nice. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.